Hey everybody, Scott Barboza for ESPNBoston.com. High school is joined once again by Bruce Lerch, our trusted correspondent here at UMass Lowell's Tsongas Center, where we just witnessed four, count them, four Super 8 first-round quarterfinal games. Four teams coming away with a 1-0 series lead, ostensibly here today. But let's start and rewind the clock all the way back to this morning with St. John's Prep, top seed, coming into this tournament. Maybe forgot their skating legs somewhere along the way. Central Catholic comes out, beats them 4-1, makes it look pretty easily. Now, of course, we know that early in the season, Central did beat Prep very early in the season. But again, a little surprised by the kind of lack of cohesion, I guess I could say, that we saw from St. John's Prep. Not typical with this group at all.
No, not at all. They didn't really seem to have any legs today. They had no energy, no sense of urgency in the waning stages of the game. Definitely a surprise for a team that, you know, I'm sure a lot of people think were the favorite to win this tournament coming in. So, but I don't want any of that to take away from the effort from Central Catholic either. Like you said, they beat them earlier in the season, and while Christmas was a long time ago, they learned some things from that game, and some of the kids were talking about it downstairs. Colin Susi in particular, who came through with, you know, what we all pretty much agreed was probably the play of the game. Brian Pino for St. John's Prep got a nice turnover at the blue line, walked in on Susi, and Susi managed to get a save on him. You know, this is a kid who's a hockey eastbound kid coming in on you, and Susi just play of the game could have been a huge momentum changer because it was a 3-1 game at the time.
One-goal game
in the second period, and that would have given St. John's a spark, maybe breathe some life into them, and instead Susi comes up with the play of the game and really shuts that down. So
something we've talked about the last couple of times we've seen the Central Catholic team. I've been very impressed with their defensive depth. I really think 1 to 5 they skate very well. They hit very well. We saw that on display again, and of course with Susi playing behind them, I think that was kind of the question coming into this year with this group. With again Kyle Williams, the stalwart of this tournament, and many before that. With him out of the folds, Colin Susi coming in kind of an unknown in a wild card there, but definitely stepped up, and I think Mike Jankowski can't be happy enough with the play of his goaltender. And
the last couple of weeks, I mean, everybody knows who Colin Susi is now. I mean, he's absolutely been the backbone of this team. You know, he's the reason that they're here in the first place from the Hingham game, keeping them in it until Hingham could get. Until his teammates could get together and score some goals. And he did it again tonight against a very prolific St. John's Prep team, a very talented and a very deep team. St. John's Prep is a team that goes 4 lines deep, and all 4 lines can do damage. And, you know, like I said, he's been a rock back there, and Mike Jankowski can't be happier. And let's give Mike a little tip of the hat, too, as well. What a terrific coaching job he's done with this team the last couple of nights. And just getting, you know, and the team itself showing a lot of resiliency and a lot of character in the way that they've carried themselves here of late.
Yeah, it's been a tough road to hoe, but got to give credit again. You know, as much as we said that St. John's Prep didn't show up here, Central did everything they needed to do to win and then some. So definite credit to the Raiders there. Let's go to the second game here tonight. BC High, CM, again, much ballyhooed, 50th anniversary year coming in. Everything you need to know about this matchup. Great game, really, through 3 periods, and then ultimately defensive zone turnover and a quick goal and a great goal by Steve DeForge completely changed the complexion of that game.
And you know what? It's a well-deserved goal for Stevie DeForge. This is a guy who, along with guys like Chris Liberty and others, who have been the grinders on this BC High team all season. They're out there killing penalties. They're taking their offensive shifts. They're playing their 2-way forwards. And I thought that play was just a microcosm of the season, for not only for Steve, but for that whole group of guys like him on this team. Intercepted the pass right inside the blue line, and just, I mean, you can't get a better shot than what he fired off. Brandon Cully, can't blame him at all. No chance to make that save. Not a good John Flaherty, BC High coach, who has a pretty good goalie in his own, and we'll talk about him in a minute, said that was a shot that no goalie could stop, and he was right.
It's one of the toughest places to stop a puck is when it's coming as a rising wrist shot from the slot in that area. Again, it's about a 0% save opportunity there for a goaltender. Let's flip it to the other side, obviously. What else can we say about Peter Cronin at this point? Really, I mean, are there any adjectives, anything that we can throw in the lexicon of hockey greatness about what he means to this team and how much, again, I think especially early in this game, in the first period, CM had BC High back on their heels a little bit. They came with speed. I like the effort of their top two lines. I thought they had some really good scoring chances, didn't quite finish early on. But again, a lot of that has to do with the guy that the Eagles have in the goal.
And we talked about this after the playing games too. The highlight matchup of this tournament may be individually might be Liam Coughlin, working against Peter Cronin, and we get to see that develop a couple of times today. Liam had a couple of breaks, and Peter just made the plays tonight. Liam will get another chance, coming up next week, and we'll see if that changes. But we're getting the most out of our journalism school tuitions here, trying to come up with new ways to describe how just absolutely terrific a player Peter Cronin is. And, I feel bad for Coach Flaherty every time he talks to us after games. It's always like, as I've said before and say it again, but it's just the way it is. I mean, he's just so unbelievably unbeatable at times, and he was that way tonight.
Shifting focus to our third game here tonight, Malden Catholic and Springfield Cathedral. The hottest team in the state, perhaps, coming into this tournament are the Lancers. Again, by the way, two-time defending champions, but a little bit of an underdog coming in as the 7 seed here. And again, wow, interesting game here tonight. 3-2 win for the Lancers. The strength of their penalty kill really shone through. Once again, that group has really been, I think, the understory and the underpinning to their success this year. And how many times do you get to see two, not one, but two shorthanded goals scored on the same penalty kill and with seconds of each other? Aaron Nazarian, some really great one-on-one efforts there.
Yeah, I was joking with Lancers assistant coach Phil Antonelli downstairs. Phil, it's a good thing you guys have a lot of practice at killing penalties all year. And, look, it's not something that Coach John McClain wants to see them taking these penalties. But it is what it is. They are used to it. And, they killed 5 power plays today. And Ara, this is maybe a game that we've been waiting to see from him for a while this season. We know he's super talented, just a sophomore. 2 goals, 2 shorthanded goals in a span of about 26 seconds. Changed the game. Absolutely took all the wind out of Springfield's sails, because the Panthers have been playing very well. They have just taken the lead. Peter Cornella, Artie Potter banging out 2 goals to get a 2-1 lead there in the second. But those shorthanded goals are killers, and Nazarian really drove the stake there in the second period. And, came down in the end, the 2 goalies. I mean, I thought John LaCorey tried to strap the Panthers to his back, once again, give them a chance to get some option. But let's give some credit to Connor Maloney. He's not a guy that gets recognized a lot here because of all the talent in the skaters that Malden Catholic has. But he locked it down in the end. So.
Yeah, great third period, I thought, from Maloney. Made some really key saves, particular in some of those penalty kill situations. But again, as I wrote the other day in our preview, I really thought this is going to be a matchup, even though the depth is important. I really think the number 1 lines for both the Panthers and the Lancers, great talent, I think, on both sides. And that's really a matchup that I wanted to see how that would envelop. And both sides got theirs. But I think ultimately at the end, again, we talked about Nazarian, really those shorthanded goals were almost single-handed efforts. But Tyler Siflin and Mike Ivana, I thought, had great games tonight, really.
Yeah, I mean, Ara took the first one by himself, right off a face-off. But on the second one, those 2 guys helped get him going. And Ivana fed him a nice pass. But, just the way that they skate and they can control the puck and they get shots. And don't forget Casey Fitzgerald, Nick Raleigh, and that crew behind them as well. They don't have to necessarily be scoring goals to be in control of the game, and that's what their talent allows them to do. And because they probably have a little bit more depth than Springfield, they're able to roll out a couple of lines with these guys that we talked about, and they're able to keep possession, which is key against a talented team like Springfield. Because as we saw, when Springfield could get loose, they put their chances away. Cornell and Potter were terrific, and LaCorey's tough to beat. LaCorey's one of the better goaltenders in the state, bar none. And but ultimately their ability to maintain possession with those talented players and keep firing away. You keep the action in one end, it's hard for the other team to do it. They have to look for home runs, and Malden Catholic has the speed to prevent those as well.
Speaking of goaltending, I think that was kind of an undercurrent of today. I think some really good play between the pipes all throughout the matchups today, but particularly in the nightcap here. The Battle of Reading, much, again, anticipated battle between public and private. Austin Prep, Elijah Harris coming away, had a shutout going into the final moments here. Ultimately, they come away with a 2-1 win. That kind of great finish, by the way. But again, Evan Morelli, I thought was sensational for Reading.
And would they put about 30-something shots on him? I mean, he was terrific, and absolutely, again, very much the same as I said about LaCorey and Peter Cronin earlier, and Susie. strapped his team to his back. It gave them a chance to get back in it. It was unfortunate for Reading. You know, they had to go for it. They had to pull him late there, and Austin was able to get the empty netter, which, by the way, turned out to be pretty big because Reading came back and got one with 22 seconds left or something like that, and it made it exciting there at the end. But they were able to hold on. Harris stood tall. All 4 goalies on the winning team stood tall today, as well as I think the 4 goalies on the other side in each game as well. So a lot of good goaltending here at Saugus today, and I think every one of those coaches and every one of those teams should feel confident that at least their backstops are here and ready to go.
Well, we see again that youth movement at AP pays dividends here. Jake McKinley with that first goal, which looked like it was going to stand up for most of this. I thought a nice little sub-story here. Cougars been, they're particularly young on the back end this year, coming in, and, Cross coming in from Malden Catholic, the experience there, I think, paid dividends for them tonight. J.J. Layton, I thought, somebody that I've seen in the second half, has really improved his play exponentially in the second half. I thought they were a nice little sub-story here tonight, particularly on the penalty kill, because Reading did have some chances, second period, third period, before they finally got one in the final minute. I thought they had to come up very big, clearing out the net in front of Harris tonight.
And, I mean, while Reading didn't have as many shots as Austin Prep, I thought their quality scoring chances were pretty close between the two of them. And they had a lot of good bids. And I think you're right. And we know that Cross has some experience in this tournament. We remember he actually, did pretty well for Malden Catholic. Last year, he's a kid that I remember talking about last year as well. So it's nice. Again, Coach Finacaro has been telling us all year there's going to be some growing pains and some stumbles because they're young. But when you can get a couple of guys that have some experience in the veterans to help lead this thing, they're in good shape. They're I kind of like to refer to them as the junior rock star team in this tournament after Malden Catholic. They're getting a lot of fan interest and a lot of buzz around them because of the talent that they've assembled. And as they come together, if they can learn it on the fly here in this tournament, because Reading's going to make them work for it, as we saw tonight.
Okay. So now we have, obviously, 4 teams, as I mentioned, 1-0 leads. Going into Wednesday and Thursday's Game 2 situations, who is the one team that you think has the best chance to come back and win a tournament series here, of the teams that are down a game?
Well, I'm going to probably go with what may be considered an obvious choice for some of these teams, and I think that's St. John's Prep. There is no way that they're going to submit another effort as poor as what they played tonight. And I say that, and I don't only like to say that about high school kids, but I think they know. They did not play their best game today by far, and they will atone for it, and I guarantee that Coach Hansen will put them to work for the next few days, and I think with the character of those kids, they'll relish that opportunity, and I think the Prep will come back very strong at Stoneham this week.
This might be kind of a surprise, but I'm going to go with Reading here. I really like the way that they were able to, again, Mark Doherty, one of the best coaches in the state. They preach system there. They work within the confines of what they have. And I like the way that they were able to skate. Again, Reading, those forwards up front, they do have a decent amount of size there to go along with their team speed that I think really goes throughout their lines. But the way that they played as a unit tonight against AP, I think that's encouraging, holding them to 1 goal. We saw AP down in the Cape running wild against Falmouth a couple weeks ago. So that team has some offensive firepower. We know that. And for Reading to be able to skate with them in the way that Morelli played last night, I think there could be an intriguing element there. And I think it's going to go 3 games there.
Don't understate the importance of the fact that Reading is a senior-heavy team.
Yep.
And that means something.
Yep.
It really does. And whereas Austin Prep is so young, again, ebbs and flows with them, whereas Reading can be more steady. They were very much in this game from start to finish tonight. They certainly had chances at the end to tie it or win it. And with I believe it's 15 plus, maybe more, seniors on the team, those kids, this is their shot. They know it, and they absolutely will not lie down. I expect a strong outing from them as well.
So there you have it, folks. Again, 4 teams moving on in the driver's seat to Wednesday and Thursday. Of course, we'll have you back then. But for now, for Bruce Lerch, I'm Scott Barboza. Keep it tuned to ESPNBoston.com High Schools.